Dr. Sky is with us tonight on Ground Zero, cutting through the strangeness that is outer space, that unfinished business in the cosmos. We talked about a lot of things. Why things are strange in space, why Voyager is sending back data that we can't figure out. And, of course, we have another eclipse coming our way. It's a Ring of Fire eclipse. It's going to be happening next year around the same time as The Exorcist being released, about right after Friday the 13th. It's going to be October the 14th, Saturday, 2023. And now we have something coming our way May 30th that Dr. Sky wants to talk about, and I find interesting, is that we're going to have a huge meteor shower. Tell us about that.
Well, Clyde, here it is, the cut to the chase. A comet known as 73P, the 73rd periodic comet known as Swazman-Walkman. This comet was discovered in 1930. The short story in 1995, the Hubble Space Telescope saw this comet disintegrating. Large chunks came off of it. There's also theories that the 1890s, when this comet passed the sun, it released more material. Bottom line, reliable sources are telling us around the world. Now, I don't want to get in trouble on this because I'm not trying to sell snake oil here. You know how it is with meteor showers. We could see lots or we could see nothing, but here's the prediction. The meteor shower from this comet is known officially as the Tau Herculids, meaning it comes into the constellation of Hercules. Here's what I suggest people to do. There's information all over our KTAR.com blog. You go to the menu section. I did a whole thing on this. People can find out all the details, but here it is. If I were looking, if you have clear skies, on Monday evening, May the 30th, Pacific time, maximum around 10 p.m., where to look? Toward the high up into the south, you'll see a bright orange-red star called Arcturus. Just a few degrees to the right of it is the Radiant, Eastern time on the 31st by 1 a.m. Now, many people, reliable scientists out there that know this stuff, say we may be going through an intense ribbon of this material. But like I said before, Clyde, it could all be for nothing. But you know what? Like the 1966 Leonids, visible in Arizona, most people thought nothing good would happen. At around 5:40 in the morning on November 16th, 1966, I wish I were there. You do too.
Yeah.
We saw around 5:40 in the morning over 500,000 meteors coming out of the sky as if you're driving through a blizzard snowstorm. Abraham Lincoln, one of our great presidents, 1833, he witnessed the hellacious storm from this particular shower called the Leonids. But this could be good. So there's maps and all stuff on that link that I just tell everybody to go to. This could be really spectacular. Or, well, what's a good reason? Over the holiday weekend, get out there and take a look. Because you have clear skies. What, Clyde? It's a good time to learn the sky anyway. But it's right to the right of the bright star called Arcturus on your star chart.
The bear. Arcturus is the bear, isn't it?
Yes. Well, it's actually a shepherd. It's called the Otis, which is a shepherd.
What is Arcturus? I always thought Arcturus was the bear. But there's the shepherd, and then what forms the bear? It's the saddle of the Big Dipper makes the bear.
Right. The whole Big Dipper. So here's the thing. It's a great way to introduce Arcturus. How do you find it if you don't really know the sky? And here we go. Follow the arc of the big stars of the handle of the Dipper. They call it the arc. Follow the arc of those stars to Arcturus. How about that?
There you go. I knew I wasn't off too far. I'm just kind of, like I say, it's always the rusty Rolodex of recall, trying to figure out where I'm going to find Arcturus in the star map, and knowing that it had something to do with, like, the Big Dipper is the saddle of the bear going over the arc, and then you see Arcturus. And that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and that star is famous, Clyde, because in the previous centuries, the Chicago expositions like World's Fairs, the second one they had in the early 19th century and 20th century,
right,
they set up a telescope right on the lake, and the light of the telescope with Arcturus hit a sensor and opened up the World's Fair in Chicago. So the star is famous. It's 37 light years away.
Wow. Well, you know what was really cool when I was a kid, and the reason why I think I kind of know all this, is the whole, what is it, Alcor? What is it?
Yes.
Was it
Mizar
and Alcor?
Yeah. Right.
And they are, they're in the middle of the Big Dipper, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mizar and Alcor, the middle of the Big Dipper, and basically you look up and you see one star, and then you see the mirror star. It's like a double star.
Double. Yeah, you got it. See, I love that.
Yeah.
You see it in a telescope, you'll see the two with the naked eye. It used to be a test. Native Americans used to put the guys on horseback, and maybe women, and if you could see those stars and split them with your eye, you had good vision. But in the telescope, you'll see that they're both double, which is really cool too.
Really? I didn't know that. I just thought,
Yeah.
when I looked up in the sky, somebody said, well, if you look closely at that middle star,
Right.
you're going to see that it's a double star. And so I look, and every time I look up at the Big Dipper, I look to see if that double star is still there. And,
Take a look at the brighter one, and you'll see that's a double, too. It looks so strange because you saw it with the naked eye, Meteor and Alcor. And now you look in the telescope and you see Meteor, the bright one, is double. And you say, wow, how can those two stars be close enough like that? Lucky for us, Clyde, we don't live in a system where the sun's double sun would be that close.
Now, let's talk kind of, I don't know if you say this is off the record or whatever, but let's just ask you a question. So, deep down in your heart of hearts, in your soul, when you hear about how the Voyager's sending out messages that they can't figure out, when you hear about how NASA's just saying something weird is happening in space, you hear of the galaxies pulling away from the Milky Way, and you're wondering what's going on, the first thing on my mind I thought of was something out there wants to clean house. Something out there wants to clear the way because something big is going down in space. I don't know. I don't know if it's the return of a god. I don't know if it's the return of aliens. I don't know if it's the return of something. What are your thoughts?
Well, it also could be the opposite. I mean, I want to be an optimist. Okay. I like your idea, but you're asking me. I would think, just like Enrico Fermi said with the Fermi paradox, we send out all these signals. How come we haven't heard anything? Maybe there's something or higher intelligence that's doing this as a great filter so that it's warping communications, like you would see television signals come in,
right,
and then through a great gravity source, the whole television picture starts to be distorted because of some sort of a force out there. But I would hope whatever that force is, obviously with all the trouble going on in the world from Ukraine, the sad shootings, I'm going to be an optimist and hope that it's some spiritual thing, because having spoken many times to the late, great astronaut, as I knew him very well, Dr. Edgar Mitchell, he was part of the Noetic Institute, as you probably know.
Yes.
And he talked about something called a quantum hologram. And he said, Steve, remember this. And I was like a student. Every single thing in the universe affects every other thing in the universe, as if we're all together in some amazing, tripwire. One thing happens here like dominoes. So I would hope that it's all for the good. That's what I'd like to think.
Well, see, again, with Edgar Mitchell saying what he said, it brings up the multiverse theories again, saying that, this is some sort of strange domino effect where some, I guess you could call it dimension, is affecting us because something happened where we wound up in some upside down world. And I know that Stranger Things is coming out this weekend, so I think it's appropriate to talk about this. Not only that, but Doctor Strange is in theaters and talks about the multiverse. But it just seems to me that we're being over-troped here in science fiction about multiple universes. And I think there's a reason for that. I think that the word gets out somewhere, whether it's in Washington or intelligence or whatever, and somebody overhears someone saying, man, I think something happened where we got thrown into a different dimension or different paradigm. And immediately people take off with that and say, oh, I wonder how many universes there are. Let's go to string theory. Let's talk to Brian Greene. Let's talk to Dr. Sky. I don't know. But it's just the idea that, something definitely is afoot. Something definitely is changing the way we live. And it's on a cosmic scale. Not only that, but we have a sun that's out of control as well. So, I mean, things are changing. They really are. And as long as they keep changing, we're going to keep having you on the show, Dr. Sky. Thank you so much. Where do we find you, and how do we get the star charts and all those cool things?
Oh, yeah. Go to ktar.com, our flagship show, the Dr. Sky Show. Go there to the menu, look for Dr. Sky blogs and podcasts, and you can download your very own star chart. If you're not a big fan of the high-tech electronics, you can get a star chart and find Arcturus. And always a pleasure to be here on Ground Zero, Clyde. Thank you.
Steve, a pleasure having you, too. Thank you so much for being on the program, and thank you for informing us about all those interesting things in space. That still, though, raises a lot of questions about what is going on out there between Voyager 1 sending back its strangeness and that weird comment from NASA makes you think that something is unstable. Well, Richard Hoagland is going to be coming up to tell us more about the craziness that's going on in the cosmos, and he certainly will have some stories to tell right here on Ground Zero.